Been a long, lean season so far for the Eels. Bringing them into the daylight here at Parramatta. Paul Dunn, man that has much travelled in the Winfield Cup. The side that is desperate to get on track in this game. Howlett at the back, Ericsson, Butner, much more. Ferrari, Freer, Lawler, Dunn the captain, Tollett, King, Morgan, Plowman, Blair the coaches, Ron Hilditch. Dean Bell leads them out for this one. Moving into the forwards, interestingly, in the twilight of a great career. Plenty of Warriors fans here at the stadium to urge them on. But a season that has already seen them stretch, the Broncos and Manly. Blake at the back, Hoppy, Fedu Taiwa going into the centres to link up with Rapati. Cohen out there in 28, great to see him in the starting lineup. Namu, Alexander, Solomon, a man, Okasini, Bell, Tuamavavi, and Edwards, the coach, John Money. The Eels at home enjoying that advantage. Alexander handing it off for Edwards. Down to the 20, their own that they finish up. Lowy, as we were saying right from the top, as much as we expect them to win and win well, they are sometimes the games where you get into trouble.
Yeah, well, they are. Maybe a little bit of complacency in the side, but I don't think John Money would allow that to happen. Certainly, Dean Bell and the forwards will be looking for a big game. He'll be wanting to get stuck in right from the word go, so he'll be inspiring them. But all they need to do is carry on the form of last week. Logan Edwards in particular was good last week.
Dwayne Mann was improving with his performance each and every week. Out to the 40, down to the last tackle. Alexander under pressure. Namu standing at the back to help him in that area. Getting it down for Howlett to bring it back to try and stretch the chasers. Bell with the assist to Taiwa. 30 out now from the Eels line. Trying to improve back past the 40. Some strong defence though coming in from Tuamavavi over the top. Makes him struggle to his feet. Cameron Blair, originally set down to start this one from the bench, but plenty of changes to this lineup. Midfield, and Brent Todd, absolutely perfect conditions out west of Sydney. Yeah, it's certainly a beautiful day. A light cloud has come over, so that's going to help the Auckland Warriors. They don't like playing in the sun. And although Auckland haven't won an away game yet, I think today's their day. They're going to control it in the forwards, and I think their backs will just run away with the game. What's your feelings about Belly moving to the forwards in what is probably his last season? Well, I know that a lot of back rowers and or backline players hate moving to the forwards because they've got to really work. I think Dean Belly's a tough player and a professional customer. He'll relish in the forwards. He loves taking it up, and he'll do all the hard stuff when the front rowers get a bit tired. John Kerwin does that with his first touch. Warriors just a little bit bunched, just outside their own 20. Solomona, Rapati. Must also be pointed out about the comparison between Ericsson Stadium and Parramatta Stadium. Crowd probably around 6, maybe 7,000 at best, Graham Lowe, that all of a sudden they won't have that awesome atmosphere to help lift. Well, they won't have it, but I'd say most of the people that are here, Graham, are Auckland Warriors supporters. Fumble from Solomona, almost handed it over for the Eels. Lawler spinning it wide, trying to find some runners right near the halfway. Brett Plowman, formerly with the Brisbane Broncos. Ericsson off his wing. A lot of changes to both sides. They push him back about 6 metres. Nobody wanted it. Another fumble. Sloppy start to the game from both sides. Mine's not on the job at present. Well, it might be a sloppy start there from Parramatta, but it's a good start from the Auckland Warriors. That was a forced error, that. Great defence from the Warriors. Alexander to the back line of Namu. Rapati on a run around, looking for runners. Blake into the back line. Poppy. Outstanding start to his season. Namu, good skills. Where they're going to continually worry them out wide, Dwayne Mann. Sloppy play the ball. Fedu Taiwa in amongst the forwards, just on the fringe of the ruck. Dwayne Mann easily from dummy half. Now a penalty against Taiwa for not getting up and playing the ball properly. This is a rare penalty, but you can do it a lot in Winfield Cup. Well, it's silly play really from the Warriors in. You know, that's the sort of thing that'll break John Marnie's heart. You just can't afford to give that away. Parramatta just to try and take the heat off, get away from the pressure. Problems for the Eels also for one of their better attacking players. Michael Butner is carrying a shoulder as he goes back to the sideline. Dunn forcing a quick replacement for the Eels, Toddy.
Yeah, Ray Mercer's on. He's replaced the Parramatta player who's definitely got a sore shoulder very early on in the game too.
Midfield. So Butner is gone. David Woods is their best attacking talent out wide. He was a late scratching. Real problems for the Eels. Cameron Blair went without it. Colson Tollett looks for some runners. Stepped out of one tackle, finished off strongly by Okasini. Lawler. Free looking for runners. Now another ball handed over. Now David J has picked up a penalty, suggesting that it was picked up by Fetu Taiwo in an offside position. I don't know that he got this right. Didn't get it right at all. Hardly any breeze to contend with. Does not strike it at all well. Let off for the Warriors. They do not get punished for a mistake that they didn't make anyway. No score, the Eels and the Warriors. Namu with the restart. On the fly down to the 30 of Parramatta. Now a struggle for both sides in the opening stages of this game. Cameron Blair. Few of the forwards running with any real support.
Well, Graham, the more that it remains a struggle, the more it remains an arm wrestle, the more it'll suit Parramatta. Because they've got a pretty ordinary side out there. Auckland need to explode in and do it as quick as possible.
Well handed off by Dunn. They get something started through much more. Now Howlett up into the front line. Solid defence as John Mooney from high up at his old joint. Knows every blade of grass here at Parramatta Stadium. Last tackle for Parramatta. So much better from them as they go wide. Now the pressure for Blake. Blake stands his ground, has a look, allows it to bounce. Who wants it? Blake finally. Did he knock it on? A lot of the Eels players looked at David J. I thought after he touched that off the fingertips it had travelled forward. Bit lucky the Warriors maybe to end up with this clean set of 6 tackles. Hoppy. Very flat start from both teams. Alexander looks for some runners. Kerwin off his wing in amongst the middle. Nice step to get it away from the 20.
He's got a good body swerve, John Kerwin. When he runs with the ball, he holds it in front of him. He looks real good, but this Ser Solomona, he's a handful for the Parramatta side.
Last tackle. Alexander. Cutting it nicely between the wing and fullback. Breaking back into midfield for Howlett. Plenty of chases. Good, strong chase. Easily allowed to get out of dummy half.
They've got to try and force the error down this end, Graham. They're in Parramatta's half. They've got to try and force the error and get the ball back because they're playing at their own end of the ground at the moment.
What's the feeling sideline, Toddy? I know it's just nowhere near Ericsson Stadium.
No, it certainly is. It's not very electric down here. You can just tell the crowd are not really behind the Warriors, and I think that's paying. The Warriors are paying the price a little bit. They seem to lift themselves when the crowd does get behind them, and as we know at Ericsson Stadium, those drums and everything are flying, and it sort of lifts you. A little bit subdued down here at the moment, but somebody is going to have to pull something out of the bag. Either it's going to be Blake, but somebody's got to do something to lift this Warriors side.
Well, he tried to do his best, covered a lot of territory. I don't know that too much of it was forward progress, but finally Kerwin gets motoring over the advantage line. Now picks up an easy penalty, finding Parramatta offside. Beat a lot of men, Phil Blake, but didn't seem to travel anywhere.
Yeah, but John Kerwin, he's the one who forced that penalty then. Great work from John Kerwin. Positioned himself in the middle of the field, straight up the middle of the ruck, and really Parramatta had no chance whatsoever of getting back to 10 metres.
Penalties favouring the home team, the Eels. Right on halfway for the Warriors. Solomona went looking for the big hit. Picked up an easy 10 metres in the end for Dwayne Mann now to look for Logan Edwards, who was one of the busiest men on the field last weekend. Alexander used as a decoy. Not so, Okasini right up the middle. Blake is there, but it's been overrun. Pegged back for a forward pass. To his credit, well and truly on the spot, David J. but a well-worked move by the Warriors.
It was a well-worked move, and there's no way in the world Okasini's going to be a decoy for anyone. When he comes through, he wants the ball and he gets it. A well-worked play.
Blake was away. Best chance of the match so far now for Ericsson to play at midfield, 30 metres out. Blair running strongly, but again no support for him. Justin Morgan will not make it out to the halfway. Lawler finding better runners this time through Chris King, and back on the inside for Plowman, now for Tolson Tollett, and again for Lawler as the Eels spark up. Touch, they will get 6 more, was knocked down by Auckland. Blair taken by Fedu Taiwa. Plenty of time for them to settle, try and find a back line. Ericsson. He will play at 38 out. Lawler. Back on the inside for Chris King. Just losing their way somewhat. Plowman using the forearm, holding it up high, and well and truly checking Logan Edwards. This will bring a touch judge report in, and I would suggest that Brett Plowman will go on report. Bang. No doubt about it, picked up by a touch judge. You will hear more about this one.
Well, no doubt about it whatsoever. He lifted up his arm there, his forearm or his elbow, whatever you want to call it, but it was illegal at any rate. Dean Valley's a good captain, and he knows how to remind the referee of how to ref. He's done a good job out there, Dean.
Plowman called over by David J as Edwards still tries to regain his feet, just copped it on the bottom of the chin. In possession, the Warriors about to pick up a penalty. As they still hear about this penalty, Tony, what's the story with Buettner?
Well, Michael Buettner's got a bad dislocated shoulder. He's going to be up for the rest of the game. Apparently very serious.
So nothing going right with Parramatta. Now they give the ball away. And we'll check on this one a little bit later on to see if in fact it ends up on match report. Solomona, normally followed thereafter by Okasini. Alexander. And Okasini takes the second and takes it to the 40. Missing plenty of runners, trying to use some decoys for Namu to try and step clear. Tormavavi. No score, the Eels and the Warriors. Alexander cutting men out wide to Blake, to Fedu Taiwa. Brought off a good tackle though by Cameron Blair. Needed to as they were clear. Alexander for Namu. Kicking ahead for Kerwin. It is a tough chase. Head start for Ericsson and Howlett. They look at each other. The ball beats everybody. Back it goes to the 20. The difficult one for him. He was standing pretty flat. No real chance for Kerwin. Now for Dunn. Game still struggling with its own momentum. Good tackle from Logan Edwards, who has recovered. Blair. Once more it's Parramatta just with that one out running.
Yeah, well, they're only running one out all right, but they are gaining 10 metres probably every time they do it, so they would say it's working for them.
Edging out towards halfway, the Eels. Lawler. Craig Freer puts the kick in behind Hoppy, who can hear the footsteps. That's a fine chase too. Ferrari already letting Hoppy know all about it. Kerwin. Put to ground by 3 and punished and finished off over the top by Big Paul Dunn.
Well, he got tackled all right, but it was great work once again from Kerwin. He was the first back there. No other Warriors player was onside. He knows what to do. He's learning this game real quick.
Just get the feeling, Tony, that a bit more urgency is required in the Warriors' play.
Yeah, certainly is. As Lowy said, a lot of the players weren't rushing back there. Some of the players, as Dean Bell makes a beautiful break up the middle.
Well, it's stolen. He took a risk, tried to keep the play alive with a bit of flair, but there's a problem now, much more. He gives it away, so there's no chance at any pressure. Quickly handed off by Ocassini to Alexander. He loses it. In the end, picked up by Rapati. I better get out there and get it. Who wants it?
Well, I'm telling you now, you wouldn't be able to get it. You're too fat and slow.
That ball just rolling forward for Rapati to pick up the dregs. But the game well and truly affected by a sloppy start from both sides.
Well, Auckland really are playing down to Parramatta's level. That's what's happening. Auckland basically got all their stars, but they're playing at the level that Parramatta's setting.
Eriksson. This is the best chance for the Eels. Inside the 20 for Eriksson to play it. Dunn will help set it up, taking it towards the post. But again, he lacks any real support. For the first time, the fans at Parramatta Stadium come alive. Good support play. Plowman on the fringe, 10 metres out only. Lawler looking to the back line. Now inside for Cameron Blair to step into a wall of trouble in the shape of Dwayne Mann and also Dean Bell. Right in front of the post for Tollett to go to Justin Morgan. He looks to push it out to the back. He can't unload. Late in the count, down to the last. Lawler will kick. Going wide to his outside backs. Who wants it? Blake, it's allowed to bounce. Still alive. The Warriors force it. Nobody got there. Nobody got it clean. A real worry.
It was a real worry. Plenty of pressure coming through from the Parramatta players there. A well-placed kick. No one wanted to go down on the ball. Really, the Warriors are under pressure now with this dropout coming up.
Blake mistimed his challenge to the ball. Didn't probably get the right sort of support and shepherding play there from Tuamavavi and also Hoppy. Plenty more possession falling now for the Eels. Just outside the 20. They have been camped here for some time now. Cameron Blair. Cameron Blair. Hands and knees will pick up an extra 5 or 6 metres. Eriksson. Very quick play of the ball and a roll on for Parramatta. Tollett to Lawler. Beautifully picked up down around the knees by Justin Morgan. Likewise from Lawler, that was magnificently trapped. That was a try if the hand wasn't there from Dwayne Mann. Ball was gone, put him at first slip after this.
Well-placed kick, but Dwayne Mann did the right thing. He's given away a knock on there, but still, if he didn't touch the ball, then it was going to be a try under the post.
Just a check now on Dwayne Mann, David J. Probably a little bit of inexperience here that he should be starting to really travel with this scrum. This is all to the advantage of Auckland. No score, the Eels and the Warriors. Scrum right on the 10. Even more possession. Greg Freer. So a tough hurdle. Big ask here for the Warriors. Mercy. Pushing it back. Lawler. Again a short ball, and again it's Justin Morgan. They finally get it. The Eels had to come up with something. They had to come up with a try after all this possession. Good play, though, from Chris Lawler to direct the traffic for Morgan.
Well, they had to come up with a try after all this field position. That's the thing. Great play then. Plenty of support runners. Really, no one knew who was going to get the ball. The defence was in shatters then. No chance whatsoever for Blake that close to the line.
What about the defence of the Auckland Warriors? It's a little bit woeful on their line. They've got to be more desperate on the line. Parramatta will expose them out wide as Justin Morgan, big fella, straight over for the try.
And said New Zealand replay has shown us about a good ball up here. This is just a few minutes ago. He picked one up around his knees, charged right to the gap. That's what you've got to do. And Blake, to his defence, really didn't have a chance. Just 19 years of age, Justin Morgan would have been giving them a real comfort zone. Lawler. Pretty skinny in the kicking department, the Eels, but they have the try. 4-0 Parramatta. The Warriors midway through this first 40. Struggling somewhat with their own form, but so too are Parramatta. 4-0 their way, and some changes made, Toddy.
Brett Plowman's come off and Dallas Weston's gone on. Brett Plowman, though, has played pretty well. He's a big lump of a lad, and I think he'll be interchanged quite a bit in this game.
Chris King. Plowman just clutches at some ribs there as he sits on the bench. Blair goes without. Now Morgan, the try scorer. Blair playing a nice short game, the Eels. They just about throw away an opportunity there. Lawler. Probably the most impressive player on the paddock at the moment, the Parramatta halfback. Fine chase from Ray Mercy. Kerwin. Unfortunately for him, all his chances at the moment are just in taking the ball up in and around his own 20. Tuamavavi. Dean Bell. Very bunched, the Warriors. Solomona. Penalty comes their way to set them up for their reply. Just wonder about how much they're missing Steve Kearney on the fringe.
Well, I think not only that, Graham, they're missing Dean Bell out in the centres, because if Dean was in the centres, we can see here Parramatta well up inside the 10 metres. But if Dean Bell was in the centres, he'd be screaming out to get the ball wider quicker. This stage, they're probably taking just that one or two too many in the forwards.
Bell has his chance now to set up the right call for his team. They haven't enjoyed too much of a flow at this end. Solomona towards the post, right in midfield. This is when Namu and Alexander tend to take over. Plenty of switches of play. Bell. Parramatta are up very quickly. Not sure that David J is keeping them well and truly 10 metres apart. Edwards on the inside of Namu. He's taken control for most of the ruck so far. Now it's left with Alexander. Namu gets a bit wider. Stands back for Okasini, who's standing very flat. Somebody's got to pick up the bit. Alexander. He puts the foot down. Cuts men out. Brilliantly taken by Kerwin. Fine touch. Rapati grabs the try. Alexander saw a half chance, floated it out nice and wide, but great hands from Kerwin. Great thinking to float it back inside for Rapati.
Well, it was a great try, this, because the Warriors weren't really deep. They're up flat, but the brilliance of Alexander, the big pass out there to Kerwin, who struggled to take it, but he did a great job here. Passed it over top to Rapati, who always finishes those off.
Yes, I thought Greg Alexander might have taken the wrong option there. Should have used the numbers, but he's come off with the try. The Warriors just seem still to be in second gear, and look out when they put it into third and fourth, because they're going to be dangerous. Great pass from Kerwin and Tiro Party. Oh.
Hits it pretty well. Will it have the legs? Not strongly enough. Warriors coming up with the most handling errors in this one. So there's a bit of a breakdown in communications with the league during the week. Would have expected the Warriors to be in their white colours today. Cameron Blair. Short ball up for Tolson Tollett. Good ball for Dallas Weston. And he comes up with the fumble. Okasini pushes it out the back for Alexander to motor. Now for Dean Bell. Taken ball and all by Cameron Blair. Edwards. Bargainer trying to put some more starch into it. Okasini. Charging over the advantage line on this occasion. Much improved run from him. Sets it up for the back line. Alexander again with Namu. Namu Nearly in behind the line. Chase put down by Tyler. It's 4-all, the Eels and the Warriors. Alexander. Blake staying up in that front line. Now for Hoppy. Little chase ahead. Off the legs of one Parramatta player. Straight to Justin Morgan.
Graham, you've got to give Parramatta a rap at the moment. They're going very well. They're defending well. They forced a couple of errors. You know, there's nothing in it at all in this game. And really, they're showing more enterprise than what the Warriors are at this stage.
Lawler to Dunn, standing wide. Howlett trying to get up with a quick play of the ball. Eriksson. Not a lot of missed tackles, but just going against the Warriors. Weston put down strongly. One more tackle for the Eels, still in their own territory and under pressure on the kick as Lawler has to go to Craig Freer. Over the head of Phil Blake. And Blake with a bit of a broken line in the chase. Can he get away from them? John Ferrari with a second good chase of the game. And he will chase and assist in the tackle against Hoppy. Dean Bell amongst the forwards. What's your thoughts overall, Toddy, on the performance so far of the Auckland Six?
Well, they're not really taking the ball up. I mean, the Parramatta side are just playing a real basic game, taking the ball up and just using a good kick and chase. The Auckland Warriors, someone's got to put on a good hit to try and upset that ball in their own, in Parramatta's own 22. But they just don't seem to be there today. They've just, as I said, they're only in second gear, and they'd want to get in third and fourth very quick because it's still only 4 points all.
Tutupu playing it short of halfway for Alexander to Namu. Now it's Hoppy. Well taken by John Ferrari. So in good position, Parramatta. Top of the tackle count and already 35 metres out from their own line. Mercy. The Warriors looking for and needing a lot of livening up. Dunn standing for a long time. Good support from Eriksson. Lawler. Big shoulder charge over the top from Wagner. Craig Freer floating it over the top, getting away. So they give up a lot of territory, Parramatta. Go back to where they started from. And this kick, straight to Blake, comes up with a fumble, but pushes it back towards his own line. Now he's told Kerwin to stay out on that wing, and this is where he's found a gap. Make sure he stays away from the chalk in the end. Kerwin looking for plenty of work throughout this game in the first 40. Alexander. Still have the feeling with Alexander that he's needing to take off himself instead of looking for runners all the time.
Yeah, I don't think he's as much of a threat as we'd like him to be because he's only really using his passing game at the moment. Just 3 or 4 steps towards the opposition would certainly put some doubt on their defence's mind.
Tutupu. 30 metres away, and it is the last tackle for the Warriors. Namu bombing wide out towards Hoppy's wing that has been successful for them so often this season, and superb finishing. Great chasing from Bell and Hoppy. They'll get some more possession back.
Well, this was a great take also. Plenty of skill shown all around the park here. It was a very, very good take, but great pressure shown from Sean Hoppy and also skipper Dean Bell coming in to make sure they force out the goal line dropout.
In no hurry, the Eels trying to find some sort of a rest. Dean Bell knows this is one of the few times that they've had a real chance at some possession back to back. Lawler still milking it. And doesn't get a restart that travels all that far. So at the top of the count, it is the Warriors who find themselves just outside the 20. Tutupu. Fine run from him to set things up in front of the posts, and only 15 away. Alexander without. Namu to the inside of Okasini. Breaking 2, 3. Trying to break a 4th and 5th tackle. Fires them up on so many occasions. Joe Wagner to Dwayne Mann. Just got in each other's way a little. And again, that attack a little bit flat. Alexander looking to bring Okasini in. Still they keep it alive. Namu inside. Tuamavavi just short. One more remains. Can they nail it on the last? Now, I wonder why he didn't play an advantage. Interesting to see if Tuamavavi got a hand to that. Somebody's in the bin for 10. They'll do a quick tap here to keep the pressure on. Dwayne Mann tried to pull off a dummy himself. Now it's Alexander at dummy half. Trying to find runners to Tupu. Turns, they'll hold him up. No, they won't. He'll get it down. Parramatta complained they held him up for long enough. After all of this, though, I'm not so sure that Tuamavavi shouldn't have got one himself. Have a look on the Ansett New Zealand replay.
Well, I think Tuamavavi did get one before, but Alexander popping the ball back to Tony Tutupu, certainly fighting and standing on his feet for a while. Wins held, but great work and great thinking.
Yeah, bad defence though from Parramatta. 3 players there and they can't hold up to Tupu, who's over the line. Beautiful strength shown here. Look at the determination on his face. The Parramatta players can't stop him.
Now a little bit of comfort.
Well, they only come along once in a blue moon, those players.
Alexander handing it off. Who wants to tackle? Joe Wagner right on the 20.
And he is definitely the player when he comes off the bench. He does inspire this Warriors pack. He's a very, very hard runner.
Dwayne Mann. Starting to shorten up the difference in that all-important statistic of possession in the opposition half. That's starting to tell as the Warriors build again. More confidence coming into their play. Alexander switching to a blind side to Tupu. One-hander, an easy one for Dean Bell for Okasini. They're standing in tackles. Parramatta are just looking. A couple of minutes out before the break, they can ill afford another try. Sitting up nicely for Tuamavavi. Pushes it out the back. Edwards for Namu through his feet. And he suggests a knock-on from Namu. It's just not happening.
No, it's not. They've got no fluency in their play at the moment. Their support play isn't what we come to expect over the last couple of weeks. Still an arm wrestle at this stage, and they really need to capitalise on the better players they've got in their side and put this Parramatta side away.
Look at the engine room and the scrum count of 4-1 in favour of the Eels. Howland up into the line and picked off by Blake, who marked up against him. A lot of players holding up their hands there as David J called out to the Warriors defenders that they were all up inside the 10. Told them to stay out of it. Justin Morgan. Great ball over the top to Cameron Blair. Had a look at the defence though and coughed it up. Blake. Inside the last 60 seconds. Time just about gone. Hoppy on a run around to the midfield, looking to link up with Kerwin. Gets away from a couple of tackles. This will be the last play of the ball of the first 40. Chance to shift it maybe for Alexander, floating it, taking a chance, and a great opportunity. Right at the death for Namu, out for Rapati. He's overrun him. Just got a little bit too far ahead of him. That's all there is in the first 40. But a chance at the death for the Warriors, but the hands are letting everybody down in a scrappy first 40. Time for all and sundry to get their minds back on the job. 10-4 backwards, more after this.
We are back to Rio de Janeiro for the first time in a long time.
Glover versus Jamal Hill, and result for the vacant title.
This is one of the epic rivalries where you have more than one crazy
close fight. 2 title fights.
I cannot wait.
A Man Called Otto is life-affirming and joyous.
Don't brag.
It's how movies are meant to make us feel.
My life was black and white before Sonia. She was the color.
It's one of Tom Hanks' best performances.
Otto!
A Man Called Otto in cinemas now.
Got a gut. Yeah. Shake it off. Oh yeah. Got a gut. Shake it up. Yes you can with the man shake. Got a gut. Shake it off.
If you want to bowl faster tomorrow, you need sports nutrition you can trust today. INT Sports Nutrition is banned substance tested and Informed Sports certified. INT Sports Nutrition, powering tomorrow, today.
Julio bought cheap car insurance with cheap accident repair. Don't risk bargain regret. Next time join the A-Team, hey Julio. Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does.
So you do like it?
I love it, yeah.
Now when you go pre-owned, you can enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota. Tested and backed by Toyota.
Upgrade your car, mate.
This? Yeah, no big deal.
Toyota certified. Pre-owned in a class of its own. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
It's the new Nerf Elite 2.0 Moto Blitz. Unleash the play in you. Look for the official Nerf logo. It's Nerf or nothing.
When you're in a I deserve a little treat kind of mood, you need iced coffee and you need it deluxe. Hazelnut, vanilla or caramel. Make your day a cream on top kind of day with a McCafe Deluxe Iced Coffee.
Now you can make every day taste better with taste.com.au. Try our new meal kits, recipe bases and baking mixes, all inspired by your favourite taste.com.au recipes. Shop the range exclusively at Coles.
Catch the KFC Big Bash League before it ends on February 4th. Feel it live. Tickets on sale now.
I think they would have had good long sit and wait and a chat to their coach John Money about that form from the first half as Chris King brings it back. And no doubt he would not have been a happy man, Brent Todd.
John Money said the basics were letting the pack down. He wants them to not just drop to Parramatta's standard. He thinks that they're playing at Parramatta's level. They should be doing a lot better than this. Markers have got to chase out on the Parramatta kickers, and the forwards have got to have a little bit more of a step or a spin, hit and spin in their game. They're just taking it up and not looking to offload. The Parramatta coach, he wants them to pick up the intensity in the first 10 minutes, stop the Warriors players from offloading, and also stick to their game plan, which is hit the ball up 3 times, a good kick and chase.
Kick and chase now coming from Parramatta. Ray Mercer flying after this. Hoppy keeps his cool. Off to Phil Blake, dances away from one, but still finishes up inside his own 20. In such a game where the mental preparation was really disturbed for the Auckland side in that first 40. Dangerous now for either side and a slow start to the second half. This is where they've got to get it right. Pushed out the back, picked up by Alexander. So Tupu, some numbers here. Just can't get it out there quickly enough. Joe Barton breaks tackles. Namu, quick hands. Rapati had got knocked down. Kerwin goes back for it. They push him out over the sideline. Now, was there a hand in there? Was it knocked on originally by Parramatta? Some of the Warriors. Alexander goes in there to check that with David J. He says no. He says, I'm refereeing this game. You leave it to me. No doubt about Kerwin going out over the sideline, but I believe it was knocked down by the Eels. Maybe there's a bit of justice here if the Warriors come back and retrieve it. First knock on this time will go against Parramatta.
Well, a simple, straightforward play here. Bad mistake by the Parramatta side. but Auckland has got to make sure that they control the field position early on in the second half. That was what the problem was in the first half. They played far too much of the game down their own end of the park, and you just can't do that. They're playing at Parramatta's level. They've got to get down into attack mode.
Alexander for Hoppy. No real chances for him yet. And they push him out near the far sideline. Edwards. Support from Tuamabavi. Just edging over that 50-metre line. Okasini back on the inside. Namu for Bell. Calling Kerwin off his wing, straightens nicely. Support on the inside, great short ball, Namu. And Kerwin does it so well. Well worked by the Warriors. Plenty of experience in this one. Put it down to Bell and Kerwin to set it up for Namu at 14-4 on the Ansett New Zealand replay.
Well, this is one of the only opportunities that John Kerwin's had, but just watch how he positions himself here on the Ansett replay. Dean Bell drifting across there. Kerwin kept his call, popped back inside. That's a planned play by those guys. They've done that at training. Kerwin kept his call, stepped back in at the last minute there, made sure that Gene Namu had a clear run to the line. Great try set up by John Kerwin.
Yeah, that's the start that the Auckland Warriors did want. And great stuff from Dean Bell. He drew 3 players in there, and JK, the Kiwis will be loving seeing JK on the burst. Very hard to stop. Set up a beautiful ball for Gene Namu. Backs up well, Namu. Good try, Warriors.
Namu. Looking for another one. My thanks to the committee. Lowry of the mighty Otahu.
The Otahu Leopards, mate. They are a super club.
My thanks to them for the membership of the club. I am honoured, guys. Appreciate it very much. Reminder about Rugby League Week magazine out and about throughout New Zealand. The Bible of the game in Australia. Make sure you catch up with all the reading on the Super League drama. And the story about Dwayne Mann. And yes, the win against the Feed is not dead, as he showed on a couple of occasions against the Steelers last weekend.
Actually, Dwayne Mann is at his back at his best. He's playing very well.
Namu again! Right down the sideline. Alexander inside. Has to stand and wait for it. Gives it back to Hoppy. So much better. Brilliant touch from Hoppy. Okasini with a great ball. What a try! Been a long time coming, but this was worth the wait.
It was worth the wait. Started off, as we said, with a good pass out there from Dwayne Mann. Good ball skills there. Gene Namu on the wraparound, running down the sideline. Got plenty of pace, this kid here. But just have a look at Alexander stop and puts on the brakes. Anyone else would have mucked that up there, but he put on the brakes, gave it to Hoppy. A great pass back inside to Okasini, and another one popped up there. Fantastic try.
Yeah, great work. I'm sure the Coach John Moan will be happy with that. He said to do the basics right. The Warriors are now doing the basics. They're running beautifully. They're popping up good little passes. Gene Namu always backing up well. And great to see the big front rower, Haitro Okasini, up there with the play. He loves scoring tries, big Haitro. Good work. And another in the front row. Dwayne Mann goes in for a second try in Winfield Cup.
Namu starts to find his range. 22 for the Warriors.
Sitting in front of John Money there, we had Reg Cook, another great New Zealand player. Well-respected figure over here, but a good Kiwi, a great Kiwi.
Warriors starting to find some of the form that they produced against the Steelers. Starting to link up with some passes. When they do get their timing right, their confidence just leaps. Okasini. So much more now, full of running. Much more. Finishes him off just short of the 30. But they draw the penalty. Nothing going right for the Eels in this second half.
Well, this is Okasini's enthusiasm. That's what it is. That was a tough tackle he had to take there. But he's struggling, he's fighting, he's trying to get up hard. Really, they didn't hold him down for too long, but he made it look so desperate.
Got the penalty, picked up an extra 20 metres and a fresh set of 6. Bit of a head clash. Somebody's out of here. David J quickly stops the game. Now he's going to have to move to play the ball for things to continue. Joe Wagner. Now Robert Muchmore just going low. He got steamrolled.
He did get steamrolled. That's no way to take on a head right in the middle there. That's no way to take on any player, in particular a Western Samoan.
Still, the referee waits. Everybody waits.
When you tackle someone front on, you must have your head to one side.
Now you're telling. Plenty of support here at the stadium for the Warriors. Keen for this to get underway again. Robert Muchmore just checking, looking for a bit of an exit door. Wide they go, the Warriors. Muchmore will have a spell. Nathan Carr out there in 17 for Parramatta. Ball is lost. Stolen. Now, David J was just about to let Dean Bell continue on with that before he thought better of it. Stolen by Chris Lawler, no doubt about it. Also got a call from his touch judge. And Namu to look for the sideline. And even more problems for the Eels. Who wants to tackle Wagner this time? Trying to get to his feet quickly. Certainly have found another gear, the Warriors. Tuamavavi. 15 metres away. Looking for try number 5. Namu just sitting it up for Logan Edwards. They switch back to the right-hand side. Alexander getting wide and floating it for Blake into the gap. And Blake is gone for another one. .26 for the Warriors. And Blake is adding try after try, week after week.
Well, great play from the Warriors. They took it over to the left-hand side of the park to start with. After that, it was a simple play, just straight out. That was a good ball then to Phil Blake, who loves running straight at the hole when a try is on. Good work from Blake.
Yeah, one thing the Warriors are doing now, there's plenty of talk out there which wasn't happening in the first half. They're telling each other where to go, playing with plenty of confidence. And what can you say about Phil Blake? He can sniff out a try.
Namu. Will he bring it around? Just a little bit of breeze. Gets there. Starting to get embarrassing and get away. 26-4. Taiwan. Originally set down to start the game out on the wing. Flicked out the back. He gets another opportunity to try and step his way right up the middle. Caught from behind, but quickly back to his feet for this play the ball. Andy Platt with a roll on, but well taken. Dwayne Mann for Alexander. Taken right near halfway, put down by Paul Dunn. Edwards. Short ball for Joe Wagner. Plowman looking for some sort of square up, somebody would think. Now action taken by David J. Off the feet this time now of Eriksson. And taken by Dwayne Mann. The Warriors were calling for some sort of action to be taken. And certainly should have been the swinging arm against Plowman. .28-4 the Warriors. Just rocked a little. Opening try going to Parramatta. But the second half has been all Auckland. Again they throw it away, Parramatta. Hate to say it. A display that certainly is far from Winfield Cup standard from the Eels.
Graham, the referee, David J, I think has contributed to that. He slowed the game down to a certain extent because the teams aren't the normal distance apart in defence as we're used to seeing in Winfield Cup football, and he's also allowed a lot of stoppages.
Bell superbly up the middle, but he throws it away. Now, David J says there's a little knock-on in there against the Eels. Fine break from Bell.
Yeah, it was Dean chucking the ball out there, a bit of a speculator. Parramatta couldn't quite pick the ball up. I don't know if it was a knock-on. Looks like it might have come off the legs. Didn't look like a knock-on to me, I've got to say.
Well, this looks to be a real bonus for the Warriors. Alexander in this much rearranged back line. Kerwin. Taken by Ericsson. Fedu Taiwa in amongst the forwards, trying to pinch a few metres. Joe Wagner. Shoulder charge on Dwayne Mann. Handballed out towards Kerwin. And a run around for Fedu Taiwa. Good hands from Stacey Jones for Kerwin, who's been in the thick of most of the action. Alexander takes a heavy shot from Plowman. Pops one out wide for Blake. Blake virtually untouched. Blake with a real special for Stacey Jones. Plenty of traffic there, but a little chip ahead kept it on the deck. And the Warriors stretch it to 32-4.
Well, this was great play here from Blake. Not a lot really on, just a little chip. Just watch what he does here. He picks the ball up, not a lot on at all. Puts a little chip in, but I like this Stacey Jones. He doesn't care how great a player Phil Blake is. He wasn't going to give him that try.
Yeah, good work from Alexander, though. He takes a big knock here, a big shoulder charge, and gets up and passes the ball. Good work from the little halfback. He's played well today. And Phil Blake, I thought he really wanted this try, but he scored that many, it doesn't matter. Stacey Jones, who had a great reserve grade game, gets over.
Playing in 38 after a change of jumper. Alexander did well. And Blake. He's grabbed 10. Stacey Jones says, get out of the way. I'll grab this one. And adds the extra 2. We'll wait for the restart. And Paul Dunn takes it up with Weston. First tackle, and they take it to the middle of the field. Ericsson. As has so often been the case for Parramatta. Took it up on his lonesome. Dunn. Cameron Blair stepping his way through. 10 metres out. Lawler. Carr. Mercy. Greg Freer on the inside. John Ferrari from the other wing for Weston. They string a few passes together. Finished off 8 metres out from the line. Tulloch. Lawler goes inside. Craig Freer will never get that one. Back to the 20.
And this was possibly their best passage of play of the Parramatta side here. The kick with too much weight on it, but the build-up to that kick was very, very good. They controlled the play, and they did have the Warriors at 6s and 7s for a while in their defence.
Poppy. 34-4, the Warriors. Only had a short advantage at half-time. Andy Platt. Alexander. Rapati. Bell. Alexander again. Short ball. Joe Wagner. Last tackle against the Warriors. Alexander, cross kicking. Inside the 20. Parramatta heading for a rather cold winter.
Well, they're a disappointing side, Graham. It must be tough on their supporters. Big C Solomona there certainly made an impact as soon as he came back off the bench, but must be disappointing for their supporters because they have been a great side who've produced some tremendous players or world-class players over the years, but their buying policy has got to be questioned. They just seem to attract the wrong sort of players now, and against sides like Auckland, they've got absolutely no chance. They're lucky today that they weren't flogged by 60 points. Auckland was off their game a little bit to start with. They're lucky the scoreline wasn't bigger.
Morgan, pushed back by Dean Bell. Lawler. "30 metres out for Parramatta. Last tackle for the Eels. Tollett. Midfield bomb for Blake, who hasn't had a real good day out with balls in the air.
Well, Phil Blake's he's not a Matthew Ridge under the high ball, but he makes up for it in other ways. He's a tremendous broken field runner, tremendous speed, and backs up like none other in the game.
Knows where to be when the try has to be finished. Solomona. Last couple of minutes of this game. Edwards, always happy just to take it to the line and confidently turn and look for a support player. To the back line, Rapati. Fedu Taiwa gets away with pace. He's just starting to look inside too for Kerwin, who had positioned himself well. One more tackle remaining. Big line to the right if they can spread it, if they take the risk. Alexander will try and hurry it out there. Floating it nicely with numbers. Tatupu for Bell, who will have Hoppy outside and Blake inside. Stays with Blake, doesn't throw him a good ball. Now back to Alexander, kicking ahead. He'll win the chase. Dwayne Mann looking for two, breaking away. Hoppy gets there. Hoppy says, "I'll grab it," to Dwayne Mann. Showed a great turn of pace. In the end, this is a fine try.
It's a great try, but I think you can put it down to Dean Bell. Dean was standing out there. He didn't really want to have a run. It's near the end of the game. He wants a bit of a break at his age here, but he pinned his ears back and he went. It was popped the ball back on the inside. This was a great pass here also from Tatupu. Alexander just popping it back inside with a midfield bomb. Nothing on really, just the sheer pace of Hoppy.
Yeah, this is the Warriors that we love to watch. They keep the ball alive. Oh, fantastic stuff. Great way to end the game. Dean Bell here taking the ball up. What a speculated pass, but taken well. Now, I just want to watch the chase between Dwayne Mann and Sean Hoppy. I just love to know what was on Dwayne Mann's face as the speedster winger, the try-scoring machine, comes straight past him and puts it down.
Embarrassing scoreline set up in this second half. The last restart for the Eels. Down to Kerwin, who's had a pretty solid game. Breaking away out towards the sideline. Thought he stayed. Away, touch judge said, cut a little bit of the chalk.
Well, John Kerwin taking the outside option here. I thought he'd stayed away. It must have been touch and go. Maybe his finger might have just touched.
Got a boot pushed across the sideline. Doesn't matter. It's all over. And in a big way for the Warriors. Struggle in the first 40. Scratchy start to the game from both teams, but emphatic in the end. The first win across the Tasman for the Warriors, 40 points to 4.